Even as the sun rose to the east, the eerie blue light in the distance still glowed brightly, cutting through the yellow light of the rising sun like a beacon. The recruit came over to me and asked, "Why have you taken us off course?" I pointed towards the blue light. They looked at the light and then back at me. "What is it?" "I don't know. I just have a feeling we need to go see what it is." Reluctantly, the recruit asked, "Do you want me to take over so you can get some food and rest?" I shook my head. I was only focused on the beacon and wanted to get there as fast as the ship could carry us. Soon the fleet was engulfed in the light. Its aura seemed to cast into all shadow rather than illuminate, to the point where the sun, now risen, was nothing more than a hazy outline. As Astrid steered forward, a dark spot breaking the smooth outline of the sea became visible. Something was out there, causing this. A ship? A silhouette came into view as they approached. It was a long ship, almost as massive as the Loki's Revenge, but much narrower in the beam. Streamlined, built for speed. Its hull had been charred black from fire and smoke, then stained from the salt of the sea. Its sail hung in tatters from a mast split in half as if snapped by a giant hand. Its oars were broken, jagged spears jutting from its sides uselessly. As they circled the vessel, they saw what cast the light they now bathed in. Hanging from the mouth of the massive serpent carved into the prow was a brazier, burning with a blue flame whose light cut through air like a knife. Even as they watched, the flame flickered and died. Whatever fuel it had been using to cast the unholy illumination obviously running dry. As it did, the sun reasserted itself and all the warriors found themselves squinting in the sudden brightness that now bathed this derelict ship. As the blue light faded, the gnarled ship came into view. I recognized the serpent carved into the prow. This was the serpent's fury. This was the ship Jarl Torric had taken 6 years ago now. The crew and I tied up the sail and rowed in close to what was left of the ship we tied on. I jumped over to have a look around, drawing my sword and axe. The sun was low in the sky and it was getting dark. "Be ready for anything," I told the crew as they drew their weapons. "Hello?" I shouted hesitantly. "My name is Astrid Lindorm of Valraven. Is anyone still alive here?" The ship creaked and swayed with the waves. The mast had appeared to have been crushed, not broken, and the ship itself looked like it was set up to defend against attacks. The smell of charred wood hit my nostrils, and I knew that this ship, too, was attacked by a dragon. "Is there anyone still here?" At the far end of the vessel, something stirred. A dark shape slowly uncurled itself from where it had lain next to the rudder and stood slowly, blue eyes flashing as a figure revealed himself. The man was massive, dwarfing even the taller of the warriors that had clambered aboard. He was clad in furs and metal and silvered steel glinting in the setting sun as he pulled free a sword that was as long as Astrid was tall. His gaze glided from face to face of the warriors present, seeming to look through them rather than at them. As he spoke in a voice hoarse and rasping as a blade across wood, "Shadows and blood. I had dreamt this long ago. Of warriors, of faces, of fire and steel, of blood and bone, of wings in the night. And you come to haunt me again. Shades, shadows stained with blood, with faces of mist and memory. Calls on the wind." His gaze comes to Astrid, and his eyes suddenly focus. He cocks his head as if seeing the world around for the first time, seeming to shrug off whatever stupor had held him. I have not dreamed of your face. You are not a shadow come to haunt me. You are flesh and blood." He slowly turns and looks over the sides of the ship, registering the presence of the fleet around him, it seems for the first time. He smiles, his expression savage, before raising his massive blade to point straight at Astrid. I know these ships. I helped build some of them. This is the Sleipnir's fleet. And yet they sail under a purple banner and sail from an isle where smoke can be seen rising even now. His stance shifts slightly, ready to attack. Explain yourself, Astrid of the Valraven. What have you done to my people? As I see the large man coming out of the shadows, his massive form towering over even me, I knew it could only be Torric. I notice his stance change to an attack position. I raise my hands to signal I mean him no harm and slowly sheathe my sword and axe. We mean you no harm, Torric. It looks like the same thing attacked your ship, attacked our islands. Dragons. If you put down your weapon, I can explain what has happened. Torric's eyes narrow at the mention of dragons, and his stance relaxes a bit, but remains ready. Speak, then. Who are you? How come you by ships of Sleipnirs? Who are the Valraven? Speak, quickly! My name is Astrid Lindorm. You know me. I joined Sleipnirs a year before you left for your quest. Shortly after your leaving, many of us were called to a place called Heinefall by Sleipnir himself. Time is different there. While we were there, we met other Vikings, formed alliances, and now we all sail under the same banner. I look up at the two banners flying on Loki's revenge and pointed at the Valraven banner on top. Valraven has promised all Vikings shall return to their ancestral lands. Their goals are to restore balance. There really is too much to tell you, and your ship is beginning to take on water. May we continue this conversation on board Loki's revenge? Torric's eyes widen in recognition, before lowering his weapon and nodding. Aye, now that you remind me, I recognize your face. This Valraven offers the goal I have spent my life towards. I will hear more of it, and of Heinefall. I have dreamt of it, through the mists. I must hear your tales. He turns back to the serpent's fury and gestures hurriedly. She is indeed taking on water. The Jotunn's flame kept her going for a while, but now that's gone out. She doesn't have much time. But if you and your crew hurry, we can save her. She is still largely seaworthy. If we patch the few holes she has, we can tow her with the fleet until we can stop and make more extensive repairs. He bows. I would be eternally grateful and offer myself and my ship, such as it is, to your fleet, as thanks for my rescue and as a possible introduction to Valraven. Of course, the more ships, the better. We will have to work quickly to do minor repairs, as we are about to lose the light of the sun. Astrid and the crew get busy patching the ship with the remainder of light that is left. A tow line is attached from the Serpent's Fury to the Loki's Revenge. With everyone now aboard the Loki's Revenge, we drop the sail once more, the wind fills it, and we glide through the water. After a few cups of mead, everyone settles in for the night. The recruit is at the rudder. Ari is speaking to a mouse that came aboard from the Serpent. Floki and Beshra are cuddled up next to each other. Beshra is spooning Floki, and Floki is spooning a bottle of mead. I lay on one of the rowing benches and looked up at the moon that was now high in the night sky. Soon I drifted off to sleep.